The crash of a fallen platter echoed through the backyard, drawing all eyes to Jack Donovan as he scrambled to clean up the mess while simultaneously trying to keep his daughter's birthday party from falling apart. This was supposed to be Lily's perfect day, and despite working double shifts at the construction site all week, he was determined to give his 8-year-old daughter the celebration she deserved. "Dad, it's okay," Lily called out, running over in her pink party dress, her dark curls bouncing around her shoulders. "I can help." Jack smiled at his daughter, amazed at how understanding she always was, even on her birthday. "No way, birthday girl. This is your special day. Go play with your friends while I clean this up." As Jack knelt to gather the scattered paper plates and spilled chips, he noticed an unfamiliar pair of designer shoes step into his field of vision. Looking up, he found himself staring into the warmest brown eyes he'd ever seen, belonging to a woman in an elegant but casual outfit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. "Let me help," she said, already kneeling down beside him despite her expensive-looking clothes. "You really don't have to," Jack protested, suddenly self-conscious about the paint stains on his jeans and his calloused hands. "I insist. I'm Kate, by the way, Kate Thompson. My niece Zoe is friends with Lily from school." Jack nodded in recognition. "Jack Donovan, Lily's dad." "Thanks for bringing Zoe today. Lily talks about her all the time." As they cleaned up together, Jack couldn't help noticing how Kate didn't seem to mind getting her hands dirty, despite her polished appearance. There was something refreshingly unpretentious about her. "You've put together a wonderful party," Kate commented, looking around at the modest backyard that Jack had transformed with streamers, balloons, and a homemade Happy Birthday Lily banner. "Lily seems like a great kid." "She is," Jack agreed, pride evident in his voice. "She makes it all worth it." Before Kate could respond, Lily came running back, pulling her friend Zoe by the hand. "Dad, can we cut the cake soon? Zoe says her aunt Kate makes the best cakes ever and I want her to try mine." Jack glanced at Kate with surprise. "You're a baker." Kate laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Among other things, I own Sweetheart's Bakery downtown, but I also have a few other businesses." Jack's eyes widened slightly. He knew Sweetheart's. It was one of the most exclusive bakeries in the city, with a reputation for extravagant wedding cakes that cost more than his car. "Aunt Kate owns lots of stores," Zoe announced proudly. "She's super rich," Kate's cheeks flushed. "Zoe, remember what we talked about." "That's not something we need to tell everyone." Jack felt a sudden distance grow between them as he realized exactly who Kate Thompson was, not just a bakery owner, but the Kate Thompson who had been featured in business magazines. Her family name was on buildings downtown. "Well, let's get to that cake," Jack said, trying to mask his sudden discomfort. "It's not fancy, I'm afraid, just a grocery store special with extra sprinkles." "Those are the best kind," Kate replied with such sincerity that Jack found himself wanting to believe her. The party continued, and Jack couldn't help noticing how Kate stayed to help, engaging with the children and chatting easily with the few parents who had stuck around. She wasn't what he expected from someone of her status. By the time the last guest was leaving, she was helping stack paper cups and fold up the card table. "You really don't need to do that," Jack insisted. "I'm sure you have better things to do on a Saturday," Kate shrugged. "Nothing better than this, actually. It's been fun." She paused, seeming to consider something. "Listen, I don't usually do this, but would you and Lily like to come to the bakery sometime? I could show her how we decorate the cakes." Jack hesitated. The invitation seemed innocent enough, but he was acutely aware of the vast difference in their worlds. "That's really nice of you, but please, Dad." Lily appeared at his side, having overheard the invitation. "That would be so cool." Looking at his daughter's excited face, Jack found he couldn't say no. "If you're sure it's not an imposition." "It's not," Kate assured him, pulling out a business card and writing something on the back. "That's my personal number. Text me when you're free." After Kate and Zoe left, Jack stared at the card in his hand, wondering if he should just forget about it. What was the point? A woman like Kate Thompson would never seriously be interested in someone like him, a struggling construction worker with custody of his daughter after his ex-wife decided family life wasn't for her. Yet something about Kate's genuine smile made him slip the card into his pocket instead of the trash. 2 days later, after much deliberation, Jack texted Kate to thank her again for coming to the party. To his surprise, she responded immediately, reiterating her invitation to the bakery. Before he knew it, they had arranged for Jack to bring Lily that Saturday morning. When they arrived at Sweetheart's Bakery, Jack was intimidated by the elegant storefront with its crystal chandeliers and marble countertops. This was definitely not the kind of place he typically frequented. Lily, however, pressed her face eagerly against the glass display cases, marveling at the intricate desserts. "Jack, Lily," Kate emerged from the back, wearing a flour-dusted apron over designer jeans, her hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "I'm so glad you came." For the next 2 hours, Kate showed them around the bakery, letting Lily decorate her own cupcakes and giving her a tour of the commercial kitchen. Jack watched in amazement as Kate patiently taught his daughter how to pipe frosting, never once talking down to her or growing impatient when Lily made a mess. "You're really good with kids," Jack commented as they enjoyed the fruits of their labor at a small table in the corner of the bakery. Kate smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I always wanted a family of my own, but building the business took over. Now I'm 36 and wondering if I missed my chance." "You're still young," Jack offered, surprised by her candor. "And trust me, parenthood can happen when you least expect it." He hesitated before adding, "Lily's mom decided family life wasn't for her when Lily was 3. I've been doing it on my own since then." Kate's expression softened. "That must be challenging." "It is, but it's worth every second." Jack glanced at his daughter, who was happily licking frosting from her fingers. "Though I won't pretend the financial part is easy. Construction work pays the bills, but not much more." "You're doing an amazing job with her," Kate said sincerely. "That's worth more than any amount of money." As they prepared to leave, Kate hesitated before asking, "Would you two like to join me for lunch next weekend? There's a great park near my place with a duck pond Lily might enjoy." Jack should have said no. He knew getting involved with someone from such a different world was asking for trouble. But looking at Kate's hopeful expression and feeling Lily tugging excitedly at his hand, he found himself agreeing. That lunch led to a trip to the zoo, which led to dinner at Kate's luxurious penthouse apartment, which led to movie nights at Jack's modest rental home. With each meeting, the differences in their financial situations became simultaneously more apparent and less important. Kate never flaunted her wealth, but it was evident in the casual way she suggested outings that would have strained Jack's budget for months. For his part, Jack struggled with his pride, wanting to contribute equally, but knowing it was impossible. Their relationship hit its first major hurdle 3 months in when Jack picked up Lily from a playdate at Kate's apartment. He arrived to find his daughter wearing a brand new outfit he hadn't purchased. "Kate bought it for me," Lily announced proudly, twirling to show off the dress. "And shoes, too, and she said maybe I could take ballet lessons like Zoe." Jack felt his jaw tighten as he looked at Kate, who seemed to realize immediately that she'd overstepped. "I should have asked you first," she said quietly once Lily was out of earshot. "I'm sorry." "I can provide for my daughter," Jack said stiffly. "I don't need charity." Kate's face fell. "It wasn't charity, Jack. I care about both of you. I just wanted to do something nice." "Well, I can't compete with designer clothes and ballet lessons," he said, his insecurities bubbling to the surface. "And I won't have Lily thinking I can't give her what she needs." "That's not what this is about," Kate protested. "Lily knows how much you sacrifice for her. Anyone can see how much you love her." Jack shook his head, gathering Lily's things. "I think we need some space to figure out if this can actually work." "The truth is, we come from completely different worlds, Kate." As he drove home with a confused and upset Lily in the backseat, Jack felt a hollow ache in his chest. Over the past months, Kate had become important to both of them, but maybe some gaps were just too wide to bridge. For a week, Jack ignored Kate's calls and texts, throwing himself into work and trying to convince himself he'd made the right decision. But Lily kept asking about Kate and Zoe, her little face crumpling with disappointment each time Jack made excuses. It was a rainy Tuesday evening when Jack's truck broke down on the way home from picking Lily up from school. Stranded in the downpour with a tow truck at least an hour away, he reluctantly called the one person he knew would come right away. Kate arrived in 15 minutes, ushering them into her warm car without a single. "I told you so," about his refusal to accept her offer to help him buy a more reliable vehicle. "I've missed you both," she said simply as they drove toward Jack's place, Lily chattering happily in the backseat about her day at school. When they arrived, Kate hesitated in the car. "I should probably go." "Please come in," Jack said after a moment. "We need to talk." Once Lily was settled with a movie in the living room, Jack faced Kate in his small kitchen. "I'm sorry for shutting you out. My pride got in the way." Kate leaned against the counter. "And I'm sorry for overstepping. I'm used to solving problems by throwing money at them. But I know that's not always the answer, especially when it comes to parenting." "The thing is," Jack continued, "I can't pretend the differences in our situations don't exist. You can give Lily things I never could, and that terrifies me. Not because I'm jealous, but because I'm afraid she'll realize how much better life could be with someone like you." "Jack," Kate said softly, stepping closer, "Lily adores you. Nothing could ever change that. And as for our differences..." She took a deep breath. "I've spent my life surrounded by people who only see my bank account, but you see me the real me. That's worth more than anything money could buy." Jack felt the walls he'd built beginning to crumble. "I'm falling in love with you, Kate. And that scares the hell out of me because I have Lily to think about, if this doesn't work." "I'm falling in love with you too," Kate admitted. "With both of you, and I'm just as scared, but I think we're worth fighting for, don't you?" That night marked a turning point. Instead of avoiding the topic of their different financial situations, they began to address it openly. Kate became more mindful about consulting Jack before purchasing anything for Lily, while Jack worked on accepting that Kate's generosity came from love, not pity. 6 months into their relationship, Jack faced another crisis when his landlord announced he was selling the house Jack had been renting for years. With housing prices soaring, he couldn't afford anything comparable in the same school district. "Move in with me," Kate suggested when he told her about the situation. "My place has plenty of room, and it would be a chance to see if we can really build a life together." Jack's instinct was to refuse, but he forced himself to consider the offer objectively. It made practical sense, and more importantly, he couldn't imagine not waking up to Kate's smile or hearing her laugh with Lily over breakfast. "We'll contribute," he insisted. "I'll pay what I can toward expenses, and I'll take care of maintenance and repairs." Kate nodded, understanding his need to contribute. Partners. Equal partners, just bringing different things to the table. The transition wasn't seamless. Lily was thrilled to live in Kate's princess apartment, but struggled with the new routine and occasionally tested boundaries with both adults. Jack felt out of place among Kate's expensive furnishings and sophisticated neighbors. Kate, accustomed to living alone, had to adjust to sharing her space and decision-making. Yet amid the challenges, they found joy in the everyday moments. Family movie nights cuddled on the sofa, Sunday morning pancake competitions, and bedtime stories with Lily squeezed between them. Kate's penthouse, once a showcase of her success, became a home filled with laughter and the occasional crayon masterpiece taped to the refrigerator. When Lily's 9th birthday approached, Jack insisted on planning the party himself, wanting to prove he could provide a special day without Kate's financial assistance. "At least let me help with the cake," Kate negotiated. "It is kind of my specialty." Jack agreed, and together they transformed the rooftop garden of Kate's building into a magical space with twinkling lights, a craft station, and games. The cake Kate created, a three-tiered masterpiece featuring Lily's favorite book characters, brought tears to his daughter's eyes. As the party wound down, Jack found Kate standing alone by the railing, looking out at the city lights. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "Thank you," he said simply. "For what?" "For making room in your life for us. For loving Lily as if she were your own, for being patient with my stubborn pride." Kate turned in his arms, her eyes shining. "You two are the best thing that ever happened to me. Before you, I had success but not happiness. Now I have both." Jack took a deep breath, gathering his courage. "I have something for you. I've been saving for it for months." From his pocket, he pulled out a small velvet box and opened it to reveal a modest but elegant diamond ring. "It's not as fancy as what you're probably used to. It's perfect," Kate interrupted, her eyes filling with tears. "Absolutely perfect. Kate Thompson," Jack said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Will you marry me? Will you be my wife and Lily's mom and build a life with us that's richer than anything money could buy?" "Yes," Kate whispered, tears spilling onto her cheeks. 1,000 times yes. When they shared the news with Lily the next morning, her reaction was pure joy, launching herself into a group hug that nearly knocked them all over. "Does this mean Kate's really going to be my mom?" Lily asked, her eyes wide. "If that's okay with you," Kate said carefully. "I'll never try to replace your birth mom, but I would love to be your mom in my own way." Lily considered this with the seriousness only a 9-year-old could muster. "I think I'd like that. Can I call you Mom?" Kate couldn't speak past the lump in her throat, so she simply nodded and pulled Lily into another hug. Planning the wedding revealed yet another difference in their approaches. Kate's initial impulse was to hire the best wedding planner in the city and spare no expense, while Jack advocated for something simpler and more intimate. "I don't need a big production," he explained. "I just want to marry you with Lily by our side and the people we care about around us." In the end, they compromised on a ceremony in the botanical gardens with 100 guests, small by Kate's social circle standards, but larger than the backyard gathering Jack had envisioned. Kate wore a designer dress, but chose a local florist Jack had befriended rather than importing exotic blooms. Jack splurged on a custom suit, but insisted on making the table centerpieces himself with Lily's help. The day dawned clear and perfect. Jack stood at the altar, his best friend from the construction crew beside him as best man, watching as Lily walked down the aisle scattering rose petals, beaming with pride in her junior bridesmaid dress. And then Kate appeared, and everything else faded away. She was radiant, her eyes locked on his as she walked toward their future together. When she reached him, she squeezed his rough, calloused hand with her soft one, and he knew with absolute certainty that this was right. "I, Catherine Elizabeth Thompson, take you, Jack Thomas Donovan, to be my husband," Kate said, her voice clear and unwavering. "I promise to love you not in spite of our differences, but because of them. To build a life with you based on respect, partnership, and an endless supply of patience when you refuse to ask for directions." The guests laughed, and Jack grinned before responding with his own vows. "I, Jack Thomas Donovan, take you, Catherine Elizabeth Thompson, to be my wife. I promise to love you completely and without reservation, to be your partner in all things, and to remember that our greatest wealth will always be the family we create together." When it was Lily's turn, she stepped forward with a serious expression. "I promise to be the best daughter to both of you, to pick up my toys most of the time, and to always, always love our family." There wasn't a dry eye in the garden as the three of them lit a unity candle together, symbolizing their commitment as a family. The reception was a perfect blend of elegance and warmth. Kate's business associates mingled with Jack's construction crew, finding unexpected common ground over cocktails and dancing. Lily flitted between groups, proudly introducing everyone to her new official family. As the night drew to a close, Jack and Kate swayed together on the dance floor, his arms wrapped securely around her waist. Happy, he asked, searching her face. Beyond words, she replied, resting her head on his shoulder. You know, I've been thinking about something. What's that? I want to start a foundation. Something that helps single parents with practical support, reliable childcare, job training, emergency assistance. The kind of things that would have made your life easier when Lily was younger. Jack pulled back slightly to look at her. That sounds amazing. I thought you could help run it, Kate continued. Your experience would be invaluable, and you've mentioned wanting a change from construction as you get older. Jack considered this. A year ago, he might have seen the offer as charity or assumed Kate was trying to rescue him from manual labor. Now, he recognized it for what it was, a partnership where both their strengths could make a difference. I'd like that, he said simply. Very much. Their honeymoon was a 2-week trip to Italy, with Lily joining them for the first week, before staying with Kate's sister while the newlyweds enjoyed a romantic second week alone. It was the first time Jack had traveled internationally, and watching him and Lily experience everything with fresh eyes made Kate fall even more deeply in love with them both. Back home, they settled into married life with the expected adjustments. Jack took on the foundation project with unexpected enthusiasm, drawing on his own experiences to design programs that addressed real needs rather than assumed ones. Kate expanded her business empire, but made a point of being home for dinner most nights and never missing Lily's school events. For Lily's 10th birthday, they took a family approach to planning. Jack built a treehouse in their newly purchased vacation home by the lake, a compromise property that was comfortable without being ostentatious. Kate handled the catering and guest list, while Lily directed the overall forest fairy theme with the seriousness of a Broadway producer. As Jack watched his daughter blow out her candles, surrounded by friends old and new, he felt Kate slip her hand into his. Remember her 8th birthday. Kate whispered. When we first met, Jack squeezed her hand. Best party disaster of my life. I knew that day that you were special, Kate admitted. The way you focused completely on making Lily happy, even when everything was going wrong. I'd never seen that kind of selfless love before. And I thought you were way out of my league, Jack chuckled. The beautiful, successful woman who didn't mind getting her fancy clothes dirty to help a struggling dad pick up spilled chips. We've come a long way, Kate said, leaning against his shoulder as they watched Lily open her gifts with theatrical exclamations of delight. We have, Jack agreed. But you know what? The best is still ahead. He couldn't have known how right he was. 3 months later, Kate shared the news that their family would be expanding. After a lifetime of believing she'd missed her chance at motherhood, Kate was pregnant, and the joy that filled their home was immeasurable. Lily's reaction to the news that she would be a big sister was initially uncertain after years as an only child. The concept was foreign. But as Kate's pregnancy progressed, Lily became increasingly excited, helping to prepare the nursery and talking to her future sibling through Kate's growing belly. Jack watched in wonder as Kate bloomed during pregnancy, somehow managing her businesses, the foundation, and their home life with grace despite mourning sickness and fatigue. His admiration for her grew daily, as did his protectiveness. The man who had once been intimidated by her success now stood proudly beside her at business functions, her equal partner in every way that mattered. I never thought I could have this, Kate confessed one night as they lay in bed, his hand resting on her rounded stomach. A husband who loves me for myself, not my money. A daughter who calls me mom with such love in her voice. A baby growing inside me. Sometimes I'm afraid I'll wake up and it will all have been a dream. Not a dream, Jack assured her, pulling her close. Just proof that the best things in life really are free. When their son was born, a healthy, strong boy they named Thomas, after Jack's father, the circle felt complete. Watching Lily hold her baby brother with careful tenderness, seeing Kate's radiant exhaustion as she nursed their son, Jack knew that he had found a wealth beyond anything he could have imagined. 5 years after that fateful birthday party, They celebrated Lily's 13th birthday with a smaller gathering that reflected her evolving interests. Now a thoughtful preteen with Kate's business savvy and Jack's practical nature, Lily had requested donations to the family foundation in lieu of gifts. As the family stood together, Jack with his arm around Kate, who held 3-year-old Thomas, while Lily explained the foundation's work to her friends, Jack caught Kate's eye. "What?" she asked, noticing his intense gaze. "Just thinking about how one dropped platter changed everything," he said softly. "How the worst dad moment of my life turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to us." "The universe has a funny way of working," Kate agreed, leaning up to kiss him. "Though I like to think we would have found each other somehow. Some people are just meant to be." Later that night, after the guests had gone and the children were asleep, Jack and Kate sat on the balcony of their home, a compromise property they'd bought together, neither as lavish as Kate's former penthouse, nor as modest as Jack's rental. "I have something to tell you," Kate said, a mysterious smile playing on her lips. "Should I be worried?" Jack asked, only half joking. "Definitely not." She took his hand. "Remember how you once told me you wished you could have given Lily siblings closer to her age?" Jack's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "Are you?" Kate nodded, her eyes shining. "Surprise! Thomas is getting a little brother or sister in about 7 months." Jack pulled her into his lap, holding her close as joy and gratitude washed over him. From struggling single dad to part of this beautiful, expanding family, it was more than he had ever dared to hope for. "I love you," he whispered against her hair. "Every day in new ways, I love you more." "And I love you," Kate replied, her voice thick with emotion. "My birthday party hero. The man who taught me what real wealth looks like." As they sat together under the stars, planning their future and counting their blessings, Jack reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From two people separated by circumstance and financial status, to partners who had built a bridge between their worlds, creating something stronger and more beautiful than either could have achieved alone. It hadn't always been easy, and there had been moments when pride or insecurity threatened to derail them. But love, real, honest, patient love, had proven stronger than any obstacle. And as Jack held his wife in his arms, thinking of their sleeping children and the new life beginning, he knew with absolute certainty that they would continue celebrating life together for all the years to come.